3 words. That is all it took. 3 words spoken casually, with a smirk, in a courtroom, to a judge who had spent 30 years making sure people exactly like him finally understood what consequences felt like. I own you. Chase Langford said it like it was nothing, like it was simply a fact of life, like the woman sitting across from him was just another asset in his father's portfolio. He was wrong, and in the next 20 minutes, in front of every camera in that room, he was going to learn exactly how wrong, in a way that no amount of money could ever undo. Before we get to that moment, you need to understand who these 2 people were, because this case was never really about a cafe. It was never really about broken windows or a stopped police report or $78,000 in damages. It was about something older than money. It was about what happens when someone has spent their entire life being protected from the word no, and then walks into the one room where that protection simply does not exist. Tara Collins had built her cafe with 12 years of her life. Not inherited, not funded, not handed to her by anyone. Built. She had worked double shifts when the rent was due. She had personally repainted the walls when she could not afford contractors. She had learned every name of every regular customer because in a neighborhood full of corporate chains, personal connection was the only advantage she had. Her cafe was not just a business. It was proof that someone with nothing could build something real if they were willing to work hard enough. That is what Chase Langford walked in and destroyed on a Tuesday night in March. Not because he needed anything from her, not because she had wronged him, but because he was bored and drunk and had never once in 28 years faced a single consequence for anything he had ever done. Chase Langford had never carried anything heavy, not physically, not emotionally, not financially. His father's name appeared on buildings across Manhattan, on charity plaques, on political donor lists, on the kind of quiet agreements that make police reports disappear and court cases evaporate before they ever reach a judge. Chase had grown up watching that happen. He had watched money move like water, flowing around obstacles, dissolving problems, filling every space where consequences were supposed to live. So when he walked into Judge Judy's courtroom that morning, he was not nervous. He was not ashamed. He pulled out his phone before the session even began. That was the first thing people noticed. The second was the smirk. Small, controlled, almost bored. The kind worn by someone who had never truly heard the word no. Judge Judy looked down at the file. Then she looked up. Mr. Langford, you are being sued by Miss Tara Collins for property damage in the amount of $78,000. She says you and 2 other individuals vandalized her cafe after a confrontation. Is that what this case is about? Chase barely glanced up. Allegedly, he said. He dragged the word out like it amused him. A ripple moved through the audience. Judge Judy's eyebrows shifted, just slightly, just enough. Put the phone away. This is not a lounge. Chase looked up, gave her a polished little smile, and slid the phone into his jacket. Of course, Your Honor. Too polite, mocking polite. The kind of politeness that is actually contempt wearing a mask. Across the aisle, Tara Collins sat with her hands clasped tightly in her lap. She looked exhausted, not weak, not broken, just tired from carrying something too heavy for too long. But there was something else in her face, a quiet fire, the kind that appears when fear has already taken everything it can, and there is nothing left to lose except the truth. Judge Judy turned to Tara. Miss Collins, tell me what happened. Tara inhaled slowly. He came in around 10:30 at night. We were closing. The machines had already been cleaned. My manager told him politely we were closed. He laughed. He said, "Do you know who I am? My family owns this building." She paused, swallowed. When my manager still refused, he got angry. He knocked over a chair. Then he pushed over our display stand. We asked him to leave. He told us we would regret it. The next morning, our front windows were smashed. Judge Judy turned to Chase. "Did you threaten her?" Chase chuckled softly. "Your Honor, people say things when they're irritated. You'll regret it is just an expression." "Do you have evidence that you didn't return and damage the property?" Chase's smirk widened. "Do I need evidence to prove I didn't do something absurd? My father's lawyers already dealt with the police report. There was no evidence connecting me to anything, so I'm honestly not sure why we're here." That sentence landed badly. Even his own attorney shifted in his chair. Judge Judy closed the folder slowly. "I decide what's worth this court's time, Mr. Langford." He tilted his head. "Of course, Your Honor. I only think we should be efficient. I have a meeting in Midtown after this." Judge Judy stared at him. "You will be late." The audience laughed softly. Chase did not. For the first time, the smirk slipped. His jaw tightened. And then, instead of going quiet, instead of understanding the warning, he made it worse. "I hope you understand, Judge," he said, his voice colder now. "My father and I have contributed generously to a number of city programs, judicial scholarships included." The bailiff's head snapped toward him. The audience gasped. Tara looked horrified. Judge Judy leaned back slowly. "Is that right?" Chase shrugged, as if he had simply stated a fact. "Yes, so let's not make this personal. This is just a misunderstanding. You handle much bigger matters than this." Judge Judy folded her hands. She did not raise her voice. She did not need to. "People like me," she said quietly. Chase smiled, still not understanding the danger directly in front of him. "Come on, Judge. You've probably seen my father's name on donation plaques. He helps keep the system running. We're all part of the same machine." And then he said it, casually, almost lazily, like it was simply true. "Relax, Judge. I own half this city. Technically, I own you too." The room froze. Not dramatically, not loudly. It just stopped. The audience gasped so sharply, it sounded like the air had been pulled from the walls. The bailiff went completely still. Tara's eyes went wide, and Judge Judy did not move, not at first. For 3 full seconds, she said absolutely nothing. Her face showed no fear, no confusion, no shock. It showed the stillness that comes right before fury becomes disciplined. The hum of the fluorescent lights seemed louder. Chase sat there, still wearing that arrogant half smile, completely unaware that he had just stepped over a line he could never uncross. When Judge Judy finally spoke, her voice was quiet, too quiet. "Would you care to say that again, Mr. Langford?" Chase lifted his chin. He mistook her calm for softness. "It wasn't an insult, it's reality. My family funds this city. We sponsor programs. We build courthouses. We invest in the infrastructure people use every day." He gestured towards the ceiling, as if the room itself were his possession. "So when I say I own you, I mean the system, the buildings, the institutions, the world around us. It all runs because of us." Judge Judy's eyes stayed locked on him. "Mr. Langford," she said, every word clipped cleanly, "this courtroom runs on something your money does not purchase." She leaned forward. "Truth." Then her voice sharpened. "And you are about to discover how costly lies can become." She reached for the folder, the thick manila folder that had been sitting on her bench throughout the entire proceeding. The folder Chase had noticed, but assumed contained standard case documents. He was wrong about that too. "You said there was no evidence connecting you to the damage. You said the police matter was handled. You said it was a misunderstanding. She lifted a printed document. According to Midtown Police Department records, the case was marked closed due to insufficient evidence. 2 detectives assigned to the matter were reassigned shortly afterward. 3 days after that, Langford Development Group made a $75,000 donation to the Midtown Police Pension Fund. The room lost oxygen. Chase froze. His lawyer shifted, but Judge Judy looked at him before he could stand. "Don't bother. I obtained this through public records." Chase gave a weak laugh. "That is philanthropy. My father donates constantly." Judge Judy leaned forward. "Philanthropy that arrives 3 days after your problem disappears. Tell me, Mr. Langford, does your family's generosity always appear so conveniently beside legal trouble?" Chase's jaw tightened. "This is ridiculous. You cannot accuse my father." "I am not trying your father. I am examining your conduct." She nodded toward the bailiff. "Exhibit C." The bailiff placed a small flash drive on the monitor beside the bench. The screen flickered on. The footage was grainy, but clear enough. A nearly empty cafe. Chairs stacked, lights dimmed, employees closing for the night. Then the door opened. Chase Langford entered with 2 companions. Same posture, same expensive suit, same entitled energy. He appeared intoxicated, waving his arms, pointing toward the counter, shouting at someone off camera. An employee approached. Chase shoved the chair. A display rack toppled. Glass shattered. Then his voice carried through the audio, clear and unmistakable. "My father owns this block. You'll regret this." The room went completely silent. The video ended. Judge Judy looked at him. "That was you." Chase swallowed. "I was upset. They were rude." "Stop." The word cracked across the courtroom like a gavel strike. "That is enough." She closed the file with a hard snap. "You damaged a woman's business because your ego was bruised. You threatened her staff. Then you used your father's name and money to bury her complaint. And now, your only concern is how accountability affects you." She pointed toward Tara. "What about what you did to her?" Tara's voice broke. "He destroyed everything I worked for." Judge Judy's hand came down against the bench, not as a gavel, as a punctuation mark. "You cannot buy respect. You cannot purchase dignity. You cannot rent humility. You cannot invest your way into decency. These things have to be earned, and you have earned none of them today." She paused. "Furthermore, I am referring this matter to the district attorney's office for review regarding potential interference with evidence." Chase shot upright. "You cannot do that. This is small claims." Judge Judy looked at him coldly. "It stopped being small when you tried to use money to make truth disappear." Chase's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we will appeal." Judge Judy turned her eyes toward him. "You are free to spend your client's money however you like, but the record exists, the evidence exists, the footage exists, and perhaps your client should learn one simple lesson from today." She leaned forward. "Cameras do not take bribes." The ruling came quietly. No drama, no performance, just truth, delivered in the measured voice of someone who had awaited a very long time to say it. This court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Miss Tara Collins. You will pay the full amount of documented property damage, $14,600. In addition, I am awarding $25,000 in punitive damages for malicious destruction, intimidation, and abuse of influence. Chase's lips parted. Judge Judy continued. "You entered this courtroom believing your wealth could insulate you from the truth. You treated this hearing as an inconvenience to be managed, not as a legal proceeding. But justice has a longer memory than privilege. She looked directly into his face. You said you own half this city. Perhaps your family owns a great deal of property, but today, you are about to lose something money cannot restore. She paused. One word: credibility. Chase stood slowly. The arrogance was gone, completely gone. The same man that had walked in as if the courtroom were beneath him now looked like he was trying to disappear inside his own suit. As he passed the bench, he glanced once at Judge Judy. His mouth opened slightly. No words came. For the first time in his life, Chase Langford had nothing to say. Tara Collins walked out into afternoon sunlight she had almost forgotten how to enjoy. She did not celebrate. She just stood still for a moment, breathing, feeling the weight of something terrible finally lift. Chase Langford's appeal failed. The district attorney opened an investigation 3 weeks later. His father's lawyers arrived immediately, expensive, prepared, and confident. But this time, the evidence was already on the record. The footage existed. The donation timeline existed. The court transcript existed. And none of it could be bought back. Chase Langford spent the following months watching his name transform from something powerful into something people used as a warning. The smirk that had walked into that courtroom never fully came back. Some things, once seen clearly, cannot be unseen. And Tara Collins, she rebuilt her cafe. Not quickly, not easily, with the same hands that had built it the first time. The same early mornings, the same late nights, the same belief that honest work was worth something, even when someone with 47 floors of Manhattan real estate had tried to prove otherwise. She repainted the walls herself. She relearned every regular customer's name. And on the morning she finally reopened, she stood at the door for a long moment before unlocking it. Not from fear, just from the particular feeling of knowing that what stands in front of you cost everything and is still standing. Judge Judy never mentioned the case again. She didn't need to. The record spoke. The footage spoke. The verdict spoke. In her courtroom, truth had never needed a second voice. She picked up the next file, because that was always the job.